Hello Bitsbrew, this is Craig from bitsbox.co.uk here, and in this video I'm going to clean up a mess on my desk using the Gridfinity system with a little help from our friends from Flashforge. So let's just check out the desk and try and fix this mess. So here is the current mess that is called my desk, and it's essentially all this at the back here that needs tidying up and sorting out. And that's where the Gridfinity system is going to come in. And I'm going to have some better paint storage and better paintbrush storage as well, some bits for other stuff. And I got a cool idea what I could do with some of these drawers to put spare bits in, and other little bits and bobs as well. And then maybe some sort of system where I can put miniatures so they're not just scattered around like so. So yeah, it'll be a few sort of bespoke stuff and other little bits and pieces. So yeah, at the moment, I mean, I own quite a lot of Citadel paints. They're all over here, but the ones I use quite frequently, I've put in one of these like nail art thingies, racks. I'm sure a lot of you use them or know people who do or have seen them. You know what they are. But I think I got something a little bit better than that we can store more paints in a limited space. So yeah, I think the first thing to do is just to clear this and then come up with a plan. So I've cleared out the back end of the desk. I will tidy up the rest of it, I do promise. But let's sort this out first. I have a Gridfinity grid here from one of my drawers. Don't worry, I won't be printing these ones in yellow because they'll be a bit more visible. I'm going to use it essentially to measure out. Now I'm only going to go 4 deep because things that I have planned to go on there, there'll be a lot of sort of empty space behind them, so I might as well only go 4 deep. That gives us a bit more space up front here. I'll try and do something with this. I'd like to have some little trays to put miniatures in that I'm painting, which I can then move about and even stack if need be. So I've already done this off camera, but essentially what I've done is I've sort of put it in certain places, left a marker and moved it across. Find out how many I want. Annoyingly, it's about 21 squares across, so an odd number. And the printer we're going to be used mostly for this, we'll be looking at later on. I can only print 4x4, so I probably will do a 4x5 on the bamboo. But Flashforge have kindly sent us a printer, which we'll be looking at in a section later in this video. But before we do that, I need to design a plan. Okay, so I've got the 21x4 square grid here and a little blacked out area where the monitor stand is. And I'm going to be just drawing rectangles and squares and whatnot for what I want. So starting with the bit storage, it's 2x4. And I could probably put a little tray on top of that as well. So that's going to go on the end next to the speaker. Next up is my paint storage, and I think I can have maybe three of these across, which I'll stack twice as well. So it'll be 6 paint storage thingies. They can have 9 paints each as well, so it's quite a few paints to go in there. Now, I think when I originally was drawing this up, I put in 2 just to start with, but I do eventually put another one in. So I'm just sort of starting with things that I know I'm definitely going to have and where I'm going to have them, and right here will be the clipper storage. And all lovely colour coordinated. Now when I print them, they're all going to be white and purple, so I think it'll be a nice colour scheme, and I'll do grey for the Gridfinity grids themselves. So it's not going to be all multicoloured as this design. So over here, this will be a 3x2, and this is where I'll put the brushes. So if you're wondering how I know what the sizes are, I've already looked at a lot of the files that I plan on using. So just to give me a rough idea of the design. And then I'm thinking over here, I'd maybe have like 2 or 3 containers for miscellaneous stuff, sand and sticks, glues, large paintbrushes. And they'll be quite tall, so they can easily just fit behind the brushes, and then the one up front I can make a little bit smaller. And yeah, then I decide I'm going to add that extra paint in. And then at the back, I want to have a container which will hold my surface primers and PVA glue. So I will actually need to make them sort of stretch just over the back a little bit, just because the surface primer is just a little bit wider than what would fit in a 1x1 bin. And yeah, I'll be worrying about that later on. And that leaves us with a little bit of space at the end, just for miscellaneous bins. So I'd like to give a huge shout out to Flashforge, who are sponsoring this video. They supplied us with the Adventurer M5 3D printer, and this thing is quite a beast. I don't recommend lifting it up by the bag like I did today, even though the bag is very strong. But there was no really sort of handles or grip to get the printer out of the bag. Out of the box even, sorry. But once I got it on the desk, yeah, you can see the size of this. So an enclosed 3D printer. It has air filtration as well, but I'm only really going to be using PLA in it, so it's not really needed too much. But yeah, really cool printer. Comes with a little box of tools, as you normally expect. To get your traditional clippers, Allen keys, and it's just a case of putting in 2 little screws to put the spool holder in, which you would see if I didn't obscure the shot. And then inside there's literally just 4 little screws with big yellow arrows pointing to them that you just need to remove. And then it's just a case of plugging it in, and yeah, and you get ready to go. And yeah, I remember when 3D printers used to have a lot of assembly required. Not the case with one of these. Of course, this type of enclosed printer would be quite difficult for the user to probably put it all together. They gave you this really nice shiny blue PLA as well, which I won't be using in this project, but I will be loading in some grey, and of course, as always, just going to start running a little test benchy. And this thing printed super fast, and I'm really impressed with the speed that this printer can print at. And yeah, we have our first little benchy, which printed in just 14 minutes. So, on to the first grid for our Gridfinity desk. Okay, so it's currently preheating to do one of the little paint racks. Now I want 6 of these, 3 in white and 3 in purple. So I'm going to print all the white ones on the Flashforge and all the purple ones on the Bamboo A1, and they're going to have a little bit of a race, see who can print them the fastest. I have a feeling this machine might just pivot. Both are very fast 3D printers, which I really like. So yeah, just for a little bit of fun, let's see how long they both take. Alrighty, so that finished in 1 hour and 54 minutes, which is very impressive indeed. So we'll go check on the Bamboo and see how that got on. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here. As you can see, it says 3 hours on the Bamboo. Now that's not really that accurate. The Bamboo had to change filaments, it had to re-level itself, so that all adds time onto the print. So I'm going to do another print in a moment, printing the same thing again, something different, but it'll be the same thing on both printers, if that makes sense. And yeah, we'll see what the time is for them. So just printing these 4x2 containers, which are going to go in the end of the Gridfinity setup. You can see about 1 hour 25 on that. That's printed very nicely, and now you have the purple one on the Bamboo at 1 hour 54. So it still takes longer, but a bit closer. Okay, so everything is now printed. I'm going to show you everything just very quickly. These are the little paint storage things, and essentially they're stackable for Citadel paints. Now you can put the Citadel paints in. I'll put one in each corner just to show you, and then you can stack the next one on top, and then it's just a case of just pulling out whichever ones you want. Hopefully that'll be an okay system. I'll try and group stuff by colours, but we've got quite a few here, so I should be able to get a lot of paints on these without taking up too much space. So they're very cool. Printed this very awesome paintbrush holder. Probably don't need to explain how it works. You stick your paintbrushes in, and we've got various different size holes in the top, and it only takes up a 3x2 space on the Gridfinity, and I should be able to get a lot of brushes in there. I do need some new brushes though, they're just looking terrible. I've got the clipper stand here, and my snips behind me. Essentially, they go in like that. Now I think the ones that are available are longer than this, but I just cut it down to 2x2 because I've only got a couple of pairs of clippers that I use regularly. So this is the only thing that's not white or purple, and I probably should have just printed it in white. But this was a basket I found. I modelled it, take the front out and add some runners in there so we can get these Raco 150 series drawers in there. We use these drawers all the time at work, and I've got plenty sort of left over that I like to put my own bits in. So we can put one in there, and we can slide one in on the top. And I also made this little basket that fits on top of there. Now I might actually replace this eventually with maybe a dropper bottle holder, depending on how many bits or what I use in the storage here. Because one thing I didn't do is actually any dropper bottle holders. I don't really need a lot, but that could be an idea. Or I could maybe make something to go inside here, hold drop bottles, or I could just simply plump them in like that if I really want to. I also made various pots. Some of these will put sand and sticks in, some glues, things like the old white, like I use quite a lot, can just go in. These I made one in purple and two in white on the Flashforge. I made a couple of little miscellaneous things to go at the back. Now these are on a 1x1, but I can stretch them out a little bit bigger because I want to put the surface primer in at least one of them. And yeah, one thing I will say about the Flashforge is I didn't really like the tree supports it put on the from their slicer. You can see it looks very thin there, and I've had a little bit of damage. The tree supports were on there very good, too good unfortunately, whereas on the bamboo we got a much better finish. Still not great, but yeah, not too bad. I mean, a better designer would have had that a little bit thicker at the bottom and maybe sloped a little bit more. But you know, it's just quick and easy. It's at the back, no one's really going to see it. And then lastly, I've got all these miscellaneous drawers in purple and white. I managed to stretch out the grid just a little bit longer than I originally designed, just by a couple of squares. And then these can go on the end. No idea what's going to go in them. I might put some flock in one of them, because I have flock in a bag and it just gets a bit messy sometimes, so to have it in a tray would be quite cool. Now these trays don't hold water very well, but they should hold flock and sand and stuff like that. Pretty good, and yeah, they're stackable as well, which is really cool. So here I've got my grids. So this one's a 6x4, which I printed on the Bamboo Labs A1. Only because I can't really print much bigger than a 4x4 on the Flashforge. So yeah, that's one sort of downside, is a smaller build plate. But that's to be expected with these sort of enclosed printers. So that's going to go there. Then I've got 3 4x4s and this one which I chopped down the sides. So anyone who can do maths will know that I've actually expanded this a little bit further than I initially planned, just because I could, really. So these all go here, and you'll be wondering, why aren't they being attached down, or how would you attach them? I don't really know. But when all the trays and stuff go on, they will be interlocking, so they'll be overlapping. And I've done a little test fit, and that's really good actually. It works really well. They don't wiggle around much at all. So I don't think I really need to attach them down to the desk. So now it's just a case, get camera in position. It's just now a case of getting everything put in place. And now seems like a good time to mention that if you want to get a Flashforge Adventurer M5 or the M5 Pro like what I've got in this video, there are links to both of the machines down below in the description. Here we have the full system in all its glory. I had to move this one over where there isn't any squares, so I might have done a bit of a boo-boo there, but it doesn't really matter. You may be thinking that some of them little storage bins at the back might be a bit hard to access. I mean, it all comes out quite easy. Really, I'll put stuff in there that I won't use too often. I just had the extra space, so I thought, why not use it? I couldn't really think of what else to do. Although, I probably should have something for dropper bottles, but I'm thinking maybe just sticking them in there. I have a few just kicking around, such as like these model colour ones, which are really nice colours. They could probably just end up being put in there, and then maybe I'll add some sort of holder for them. So yeah, that's a case of getting everything put in. And here we have the finished system all loaded up. And yeah, it looks pretty smart. I think I could probably do more of these paint racks as well. Probably have another layer. I won't overdo it. So a lot of these paints are just ones that I use quite frequently. I have, as I said earlier, I've got loads more over there. And I've put some dropper bottle paints in there. It's a bit dark to see under there. And yeah, I've got little drawers for bits, which work really well. Which is really cool. Around the back there I've got surface primers. And some pens and stuff in there. I've got all my sand and sticks. Got my clippers and a pair of scissors. Got some glues. More glues over there as well. And just some lighters and a tape measure in there. Loads of random brushes. As you can see, I probably need some new ones. Lots of old manky brushes in there, which I use for base coating and dry brushing. And then some nicer ones as well. I do have some Winsor Newtons, which I keep in a nice little box and not out on display. Now, obviously, I'm sure you've all got opinions on how brushes are probably best to be displayed, but these are just mostly my work brushes. There's a couple of GW ones in there and some watercolour ones and some army painter. These are all just expendable brushes, really, so I'm not really too fussed. I mean, as you can see by the condition that most of them are in, that they're my expendable brushes. There's nothing in the bottom of these trays, but I'm thinking of just putting some flock in that one. I think I mentioned it earlier in a video, so I'll do that. I've got some stuff in the drawers which can go in the other two little boxes, but yes, I think it's a really smart looking system. It's nice and neat. It's really fun to print. And yeah, huge thank you to Flashforge for sending us one of their printers to try out. It's been an absolute workhorse on this project. I'm really in love with my Bamboo A1. They are amazing budget printers. But yeah, the Flashforge has been fantastic. So if you're looking for more of an enclosed type of printer, then yeah, certainly would recommend that. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, the 3D printing these days, it's just come on so far. And from the outside looking in, you might not realise it, but once you start using these newer printers, you can really tell the difference from the old ones. So yeah, I'm going to print much more on both printers because they are just both fantastic. And it's been an absolute pleasure using them. So big thank you to Flashforge for sending us that and being the sponsor of this video. It's been an absolute blast. I love just looking at it. It just looks amazing. I'm glad I went with like the purple and white scheme. I know I got the black box on the end, but I think it works alright. So yeah, hopefully this has inspired you guys to try and do a similar thing for your desk, or maybe you already have. Maybe you embrace Gridfinity, as many people with 3D printers do, because it's just an awesome system, and the amount of files and support for it is just amazing. And I will link as much as I can find in the description down below. And I did make some custom ones, which maybe I'll upload at some point in the future. But yeah, all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. There'll be more 3D printing content in the future, as well as Warhammer content and anything else that takes my fancy. And I'll see you all again in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.